Yes, okay. Hello friends, welcome to BISP Solutions. Myself Ashwin, and BISP Solutions is a tech company provide technological solutions across the world. So now today is our day 5 in business analysis course, and in our last few sessions, 4 sessions, what we have done, we have first studied about the introduction of BA, types of BA, types of projects that a business analyst handles, and yesterday we have seen SDLC, system development life cycle. Right now, today we are going to see how BA communicates with stakeholders. Right now, see, in this we will see different types of different types of means of communication or the ways of communication, and who are those stakeholders that are going to communicate with the business analyst, right? And the question arises here, see, why communication is core for a BA? Okay, why communication is core for a BA? So business analyst are communication bridge in a project. In our since our first session, I have been telling you that technical team never communicate directly with the client, functional team never communicate directly with the client. So BA is the bridge between the customer or we can say the client and the team. 70% of BA success depends on how clearly they listen, they ask, they explain and document. For example, let me give you an example. Suppose I am taking the requirement, right? So I am taking the requirement, I have to ask so many things from them, right? For example, if they say that the student can take leave anytime, so I have to ask them that what if the student wants to cancel the leave in the middle. So client will try to provide you 100% information, but you have to go deep dive in that, and you have to ask that exactly what they want. So you have to first listen them, you have to ask them, and then you have to explain it to the team, and you have to document it, right? Once your documentation skills is ready, then half of the task is already done. After that, a BA must speak the language of business to clients and the language of logic to tech teams. For example, the client will communicate his requirement in a business way, right? And let's take an example of NetSuite. The client will say, just give me a second. Okay, yeah. Here, right? Suppose, for example, the client will say that we have the routing, right? Client will say, let me open just a second, what happened here. What client will say, we need the PO to be approved by 2 persons, right? Now tech team, when I will reach to tech team, right, then I have to explain them, okay, they need an approval routing where you have to provide the approval process. That means you have to design a workflow for them. That's it. So this is how I will communicate. Client will say only one line, that we need a PO to be approved by 2 persons based on this condition, right? Based on condition. So this is called the business language. And tech team, you have to make a workflow. So this is called technical language. So in this way, you have to speak in the language of business to the client, in the language of logic with the tech team, right? So this is okay. Now, key people a BA communicates with. Now, who are those people that a BA, business analyst, communicates? Now see here, anyone impacted by the project, internal or external. Now let's make it a little large. key people. Okay, and now I will just open this. Okay, just keep it like this. Okay, anyone impacted by the project, internal or external, right? That means he might be a vendor also, he might be a customer also, he might be a client person also, anyone, whichever is impacted. Actually we will exclude the customer, only the client employee, right? Let's take client employee. So either client employee, or we can say the supervisor or the manager of any specific department, or the WMS employee, whichever, they are called the stakeholders. Now business users, managers, for example business users, heads, employees, anyone, right? So these are called the stakeholders, right? Now let's talk about who are SMEs. Now SMEs means the people with deep knowledge of any specific subject, people with deep of business process. For example, finance head. Let's take an example, finance head. P2P. When we talk about P2P, so they are called finance head, or we can say the CA person, CA, chartered accountant. He is also an SME, right? When it comes on taxation, right, the company or the client has to deposit the tax, or they have to file the income tax return, right, or any type of tax return, right? So they are called the SMEs, the chartered accountant, the accountants, the finance head, the CFO, all these are called the finance SME, that is the subject matter expert. And secondly, they will help define the as is or to be process. As is means the process which is going on, keep it same in the NetSuite also, or we can say the target system. Or to be means, for example, in sales order whatever the process is going on, that is fine, but suppose in purchase order I need it to be approved by 2 persons, so that is called to be process. So in this way the SME will help you. Okay, now in our legacy system the things are going something like this, and now the things we need something like this. So that is why these are the SMEs which are very important. Now let's talk about the clients, right? So client, when we talk about the client means external party requesting the software, that is the client first. And now this client may be technical person or the non-technical. For example, if let's take furniture selling company, this is our client. Now in that furniture selling company there might be no technical team, or there may be one technical person also. So these are called the clients, right? So the BA has to communicate with clients also, and the internal team. Now what do you mean by internal team? The developers, the testers, project managers, designers. Developers, testers, project designer, project manager, designer, right? So these are the persons the BA will communicate, right? Stakeholder means the business user, anyone who is impacted by the project. SME means the people with deep knowledge of business process. Client means the client, whosoever wants to implement NetSuite or any other application. And internal team means the team from our side, right? So this is called SME communicate with these type of people. That means first we have seen why communication is important, okay, and how communication plays an important role. Then we see the people, those who are communicating with the client, business analyst. And now the communication modes. Now see here, what are those communication modes? Suppose I am a BA, business analyst, and when a project is started, so definitely I will have to have the contact number of all the SMEs, all the stakeholders, right, for clarification purpose. And I have to set the meeting, so definitely I have to get the email ID of each and every person, each and every mobile number also, and the email ID also, right? So why emails are used? For follow-ups, confirmations, meeting invites. That is why email ID, email address collection is mandatory. In one of my project, what we were doing, we were just preparing one Excel sheet, and inside that Excel sheet we asked them, okay, give me your mobile number, give me your email ID, whatever the email address is there. Then documentation, BRD, FRD, minutes of meetings. Now what is this minutes of meetings? See what happens, every alternate day or the Friday night a meeting is held, and in that meeting the business analyst has to explain whatever progress we have done within the last 5-6 days, right? Normally the working days are 5 days, Monday to Friday. So within the last 5 days, whatever progress we have done, so these are called recurring meetings. And after every meeting, it's a responsibility of the business analyst that the business analyst should send the minutes of meetings. Okay, that is why minutes of meetings, the BRD, FRD, everything, the business analyst must have command in writing skills. After that, let's take one more example, like workshops. Now see what happens. Suppose we are implementing NetSuite on a project, on a company, right? NetSuite in a company. Now definitely some requirements given by the SME, and we found that this type of requirement is a little complex and it needs enhancement in the existing application, ERP application. So we need to set up a workshop also. The business analyst need to set up a workshop, and in that they have to discuss on that matter and resolve that in an alternative way, right? Because what happens, sometimes there are some limitations in the target system also, whichever they want to configure. So there might be some limitations also. So sitting with the client and with the help of brainstorming, you have to find out the alternate solution also. Okay, so that's a very complex task, because what happens, clients also say that okay, when we are paying this much amount for that particular product, then why should we compromise? This type of situation also comes. So business analyst has to handle all these type of situations also, because I have seen many times the situation comes when the complex requirement it takes a little time, so immediately the client start asking why this delay is happening. They ask for the justification. So in this way, the business analyst has to communicate with the SME so that the solution should not be too much complex. Okay, so that is why workshops arrangement, right, workshop scheduling, all these things are done. And now let's come to the final point, that is the tools. Now what are these tools? Okay, so let's talk about the tools. Now see, Jira is another tool, Confluence is also a tool, Excel sheet, Slack, Teams, MS Teams. So these are the tools for communication quickly. See, suppose if you use any traditional communication tool like WhatsApp, or we can say the Hangout of Gmail, or we can say the email, but in that case there is no serial process, right? Suppose in MS Team I am using MS Team, so one by one all left side all the SMEs and candidates email name are there, and then I know that to whom what I sent. So that is much easier. Jira is also one type of tool. Excel sheet is also a tool. At the time of a unit testing scenario we use Excel only. Slack is also a latest tool. There are so many tools like monday.com, right? There are so many tools are there. So you should be perfect in any one tool, right? Suppose if someone is good in MS Team, then it's fine. Or else the company, whatever the tool that company is using, Jira, whether it could be a Jira or the Slack, any type, right? So tools are necessary for communication and the documentation sharing, right? Now let's move ahead. BA communication during project phases. Now see, let me open the notepad and then I will show you. Okay, yes, come here. Okay, now BA communication during project phases. Now at the time of requirement phase, what he need to do? First of all, requirement: conduct stakeholder interview, use open-ended questions to uncover pain points and clarify scope and align expectations, right? So conduct stakeholder interview. So stakeholder, right? Second, uncover pain points, and the third is scope and align expectation or define scope. That means in first phase we are going to provide you this much only, not more than that. So this is how in requirement phase it works, right? So the BA has to define these 3 points. One is the interview. First he has to conduct the interview. The business analyst has to conduct the interview of the stakeholders. Second, uncover all the pain points first. Then we talk about the enhancement, but first uncover all those points where you are facing the difficulty. Third, define the scope, that exactly what we are going to provide you. Now once communication is done, this is all about the communication. Now documentation phase. In this documentation phase, BRD, FRD, okay, and use cases, get approval. So all these things are done during this documentation phase. And communication through structured document. In corporate, everything is communicated through structured document. Structured document means what? Structured document means the document which is well structured from in the first page, the purpose of the project, whatever the project is, that should be written in the second, the history of the version, and the third, the table of content, and from the fourth page you have to show the summary, that exactly what this document is, why this document is prepared, who is going to work on this project document, to whom this document will be useful. All these things will be, this is called structured document. And the next point, what he has to do, send document for the review, feedback, sign off, right? Suppose I have created one BRD. Now until I get the okay or the approval from the client side, I can't move ahead, because once you provide me the sign off, then only our team will start working on it. So that is called the professional approach. Now testing and UAT phase, that's very simple. Coordinate with the client and testers, explain business rules to QA team, and gather feedback. Let me show you one. Testing, right? Testing phase. So what we will do, first of all, coordinate with client, then explain business rule to QA team. QA team means our side. I am talking about our side, right? Right now, coordinate with client and testers, that is fine. But explain business rule to our quality assurance team, because our technical team has developed something, so they will not find any difficulty in that, because the person who writes the code, he is unable to find the bug in that. So this QA team finds out the bugs, but how they will, on what basis they will find out the bug? You have to explain the business rule that okay, based on this rule we have developed this code and module, and you have to just run this for this particular business rule. So on the basis of that they will do, right? And then gather the feedback and manage defect explanation, right? So whatever the quality assurance team will give you the feedback, so you have to manage them. Suppose the quality assurance team says that this module is a little bit problematic, so you have to communicate with your technical team, and again you have to resolve that. Then only it will go to the UAT, otherwise it will not go to the UAT. Okay, now go live and post go live. Now what is this go live and post go live? Now see, for example, suppose if you see the water purifier machine, every 2-3 months the technician from that company comes to you, or we can say, let's take the example of AC. Once it is installed, they said that okay, first service will be free from our side. So post go live support, that is called post go live. Suppose we have implemented NetSuite in the client company, right? Everything is fine, going fine. Now after go live, that is called the phase of post go live. Now in that, what we need to do? So in go live, so create SOP, standard operating procedure, okay, user manual, right? Then train the users, then collect feedback and support change management. Right? So this is what the business analyst has to do. Go live and post go live means once the date comes, like 15th of August, we will make it as go live. So before that, your user manuals should be ready. User guide, we can say user guide also. User guide should be ready, because at the time of live, if they demand for a document, so that we will go through that, they can ask anything. So your all these documents should be ready. Then before go live, before the go live date, you have to do one more thing, that is training the user. On the day itself, if the user say that they have not given us any training, then it will be from our side fault, right? So this thing should not be there. And collect the feedback also before the date of go live. So all these things should be well managed, right? So this is how a business analyst communicate during project phases. That means his responsibility changes. At the time of go live, he has to do more efforts, because once it is done, go live, now from next day they will start working on production instance, right? So in production instance also, the business analyst has to observe each and everything, right? So that is called the business BA communication during the project phases. Now see here, how to communicate with different roles. Now one more question arises, that how to communicate with different roles. See what the way you are communicating with the CFO, CTO. Now suppose the one person who is from warehouse, now you have to ask them exactly what type of problem he faces, right? For example, with the stakeholders, use business language, not tech jargons, right? Let me open again the notepad. Okay, now see here, if I go like this way, yeah, with the stakeholders, use business language, not tech, right? Then confirm understanding with real world example. Whatever the stakeholder is saying, so you have to apply that, use it with your daily life example, and then only say whatever I am thinking, is that correct? Okay, so confirm understanding with real world example, right? And another is build trust through transparency. Right, this is what with the stakeholder, how this person, the our business analyst communicates. Now with the SME, let's talk about the SME. Respect their domain expertise. First of all, if a person is like chartered accountant, right, so definitely he might be having a huge amount of knowledge along with him related to everything. So respect their domain expertise first. Okay, so respect their domain expertise, right? This is for SME. I am telling you about SME, right? Now be precise with process related questions, because see, a chartered accountant knows only related to either commerce part or the tax part, right? If you speak with the technical words, tech vocabulary, that is not a correct way, right? So be precise with process related questions. Only process related questions you need to ask, right? After that, keep record of their feedback in feedgap docs. Why? In future, suppose if any module is not working, then we should show them, okay, according to this process we have developed. Okay, so keep record of their feedback. It is very important. Okay, after that, with client, okay, now with client, be polite, structured and proactive. Okay, so now let's talk about this client. I am talking about this client. Okay, now just a second. Okay, now with the client, how you will talk? So with the client, polite and proactive. Secondly, use mockups workflow to help visualization. Use mockups or for visualization. For example, I am communicating with the client, and if whatever I know, if it is better to put that into a format of flow chart, right? Suppose if I explain you something with the help of flow chart, it would be much easier. And if I keep on speaking 5 to 20 minutes, it will be boring, right? So you have to explain the client things with the help of either mockups. Actually, there are so many tools, right? In the market, there are so many tools available for that, for the visualization purpose. Okay, so you can use any one of them. Follow up with summary emails after each meeting. Summary emails is nothing, it is just a minutes of meeting, right? That means you have to, from today only, just you have to have the habit of writing emails, right? Okay, now after that, with developer and testers, now use clear logic diagram and test data. Suppose if I communicate with the client whatever I take from that, and now when I will communicate with my technical team, I will say okay, they need a workflow, create a workflow using this condition, and based on this condition this script will run. Now how you will write down this script? Just guide them. Remaining task they will do by themselves, right? After that, clear logic. Just take a second, with the developer, right? I am talking about this. So clear logic and diagram, and here bridge the what with the how. Bridge the what with the how. That means what do you want and how it can be done, right? Whatever you want extra, just let me know, and then how it can be achieved, that I will tell you. Okay, that is called the way of communication with different people in the project. Okay, now communications best practice for BA. Let me do this. Okay, now see here, communication best practice for BA. You have to be a good listener, right? Let stakeholders speak first. See, many times what happens, if you keep on interrupting the client person or the stakeholder, any stakeholder, what he will do, he will not take interest, and he will not open all the things. Most of the times he remains silent. So that is why you have to be a good listener. Let them speak first, and then only you speak. After that, always repeat back requirement to confirm. That means always repeat back requirement for the confirmation. See what happens many times, if I communicate with the client, and if I don't say that this is what we are going to do next, and if I take it for granted, like this is what he has said and this is what the meaning exactly we have derived, many times after seeing the output, the client may reject also, that this is not what I demanded. In that case, what will happen? So that is why always repeat back requirements to confirm. Then use visual aids. Visual aids means flowchart, diagram, wireframes. Suppose if you narrated, if the client narrated the sales order process, now in that sales order process you have to make flowcharts also, because flowcharts are the best way to express. Okay, keep emails formal and meeting notes structured. Keep emails normal and meeting notes structured means exactly what? Email should be very normal. Hey, hi, hello, whatever you want to write, right? And hello Jake, or hello Peter, whatever you want to write. And the meeting notes should be structured. Structured means in the first step we are going to do this, in the second task we are going to do that, right? Maintain neutrality. Maintain neutrality means in many projects what happens, a new person comes for handling the project. Now what happens, few employees comes from his own what we say, the native city, right? Suppose if a business analyst comes from like any city like Bangalore, then and if he found that okay, two more technical person are also coming from the same native city, in that case there should not be there should be a chance of like favoritism. So you have to maintain the neutrality. Don't take sides in conflicts. Okay, don't take anyone's side, because you are doing your task. The client employee, either they argue with each other, that is not our business. Okay, So don't take sides in conflicts. Then ask what is the actual problem, not just what do you want, right? Here say very simple, what do you want? I need a student management system. But instead of that, if I ask them exactly what is the actual problem, right? So then he will say that student do not open the website. In that case, I will suggest them, okay, develop a mobile app, that will be much better. So in this way, you have to maintain first the neutrality and then ask what is the actual problem, not just what do you want, right? Now let's see this. Communication mistakes a BA should avoid. See what happens when a business analyst works with a big company, right? So there knowingly or unknowingly a BA commits a few mistakes also. So what those mistakes that a BA should avoid? Not documenting meetings and decisions. Suppose today a higher authority of the client side, he makes some decisions and we have not documented it. After 20 days again the owner comes or the higher authority comes and again he will see the same process. So that is not a correct way, correct practice. So make not documenting meetings and decisions, this is a very big mistake. Okay, so don't do this. Just avoid making assumptions instead of confirming. Suppose if you tell me, okay, I will come with you, but when? Tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Suppose if you say that, okay, whenever you want to go to the dean's office or HOD office, I will come with you. But I have not taken the confirmation, right, whether you will come tomorrow or day after tomorrow or today itself. So that is called documentation, meeting and decisions. Making assumptions instead of confirming, right? Confirming is the best solution. Okay. Using overly technical language with business user. See, again one thing, business user never know technical language, right? Just a second. You business user never know technical language. If you communicate with him something like, okay, we will write down a JSON code and then that JSON code will be stringified and then we will prepare an array in that, the user will never understand. So overly technical language with business user is not preferable, right? Then not involving the right stakeholders early. This is most important point. Let me tell you one case scenario. In one of my project, what happens, the team at the time I was working in a functional team. So what I saw that the business analyst, they involved the higher authority people, right? Just a second. The implementation team, they involve the higher authority like the business user, like senior supervisor and everyone, but they have not involved the sales rep in the meetings. So what happens when they implement a NetSuite, when they make all the changes, customization, and at the end the sales reps, those who are supposed to work on that NetSuite, they raised so many questions. Now it was their duty to satisfy their queries also. So that is why this is most important, that whenever you have a meeting, involve that particular right stakeholder also. And it is possible in both, like if you work with ERP project or the software project. In software project also, when you do not involve the person who is working on that software. That person will raise too many questions that I want this process, because the owner of the company will never run that application. All the sales reps, the purchase reps, they run the application, right? That is why this is most important. This fourth point is most important. Always involve the right stakeholders. Now sample case study to explain, right? A client wants to automate their invoice approval. Now BA speaks to finance head to understand the current process, conduct workshop with accounts payable team, prepare BRD and share it with the client for sign off, and explain the workflow to developers and helps create UAT test case for tester. This is the complete case study. See what happens in a project. Suppose a client wants to automate their invoice approval. This is just a part of a complete project, invoice approval. So BA first will work with finance head, because approval routing is deployed on like purchase order. So purchase order means something is coming and payment is going. So the finance head, you have to communicate with the finance head that exactly what your process is going on, right? Then secondly, conduct workshop with accounts payable team. You have to communicate yes, just a second. Then you have to communicate with the this accounts payable team, because that team will explain you much better. After that, prepare BRD and share it with the client for sign off. You have to prepare a BRD on whatever exactly is asked and then share it with the client. Okay. After that, explain the workflow to the developer and help create use test cases. Okay. So this is the complete process a BA has to follow. That means what he has done, he has taken the requirement from the client, then he go to finance head, and everything should be documented. When he will prepare one document, he has to show that okay, first I communicated with the finance head, then the accounts payable team, and findings also you have to mention in that document, that what I found during the communication with the finance head, what I found during the communication with the accounts payable team. Everything, each and everything should be documented. Okay. After that, prepare a BRD and share it for the sign off. Now explain the workflow for developers. He has to communicate with his own team, and then remaining is the task done by the technical team. So this is how the it's a case study for you to explain, right? Now finally, today in this complete session, what we have understood, one is BA are the voice of the business. BA has to do each and everything, but he's just like the front end face, right? Front face of the business. Or we can say the client knows, in future also the client will remember only one name, the BA who communicated during the whole project. In future also, right? So after that, communicate differently with stakeholder, SME and tech team. You have to change your language according to the person in front of you. Fine. After that, always follow up, document and confirm. Don't do any type of assumptions. Don't do any type of assumptions, right? Let me show you this also, because this is very important, right? First of all, BA is very important. Secondly, communicate different, change your language according to person. Now change your language according to person means, suppose if the person is technical, you have to use technical language. If the person is functional, you have to use functional. If the person is from financial team, you have to use the financial language. Okay. Always follow up. See, always follow up means, suppose I have sent one document to any client, and if he is not sending the reply, so you have to keep on following up with him and take the confirmation first. Suppose if you start working without any confirmation, so it might or it might not, 50% chances it might create a problem for you also, because when the client says that without my confirmation, who started this process, that is also a possibility. So that is why always follow up with the client, document everything, and then confirm it. Communication is the number one skill of a successful business analyst. That is what I am telling you. Communication is the biggest skill. 70% tasks are done only with the help of communication only. 40% task or 30% task, that is called the technical team. So technical level task is the very first level task, and as you go up, so communication is the most important task. So this is what we have learned today, that how the communication is done, how business analyst communicates with stakeholders, SMEs and clients, all these things, right? Now tomorrow we will see what are the tools that a business analyst should know, right? Tomorrow we will see actually we have seen these things also, right? Today we have seen these type of tools, but there are some more tools that a business analyst should know. So tomorrow we will discuss on what type of tools a business analyst should know, right? So this is, and later on we will discuss on the documents also, documentation process also, right? So if anything is not clear to you, I suggest you to watch this video again, watch this webinar again, and if anything is unclear to you, you can put down in the comment box. Okay, I will resolve it. And in our next session, that will be on Monday, we will see that discuss on the another topic. And those who come today for the first time viewers, I suggest you to watch my previous 4-day webinars. That will be more clear, right? So that you will become more clearer in this 30 days session. Okay, so guys, see you in our next session. And those who have not subscribed the channel, subscribe the channel and like the video. Okay, thank you guys, thanks for attending the webinar. Thank you.